Hi again, everybody. Welcome to the Bricks and Bleachers podcast, all things Chicago Cubs in under 10 minutes. Despite many obstacles, Cubs head into the final 4 weeks of the regular season in the driver's seat. We'll reset the National League Central, including a look at some recent roster moves. Also talk about the waiver process, how the Cubs were able to land Daniel Murphy, and we'll take a look at the month ahead as the postseason draws near. Cubs enter play today 81-55, a season-high 26 games over 500, leading the National League in most of the year in runs per game, also among the league's best defensive teams. And as I've pointed out many times before, I don't think the depth of this team can be matched. Most teams with a recent MVP coming back from injury would be in a hurry to activate him, get him back on the field, but the Cubs took their time with Kris Bryant. They waited till Saturday to activate him in order to not displace anyone on the active roster. David Bote has been great in Bryant's absence. Tommy La Stella is among the league's best pinch hitters. Zobrist and Caratini with important roles as well. With Zobrist having one of the best offensive seasons of his career. He's 37 and still putting up some pretty impactful numbers. Big improvements this season from Jason Hayward and Kyle Schwarber. You got Javi Baez in the MVP conversation. And the starting rotation, the last 3 weeks, has really solidified. It's been up and down all year. ERA for the starters the last 3 weeks, well under 3. Cubs and Phillies over the weekend. I've been high on the Phillies most of this year. Really thought this would be a battle of two postseason teams. Phils really struggled throughout the month of August, and they didn't put up much of a fight this weekend. They did, however, beat the Cubs 2-1 Friday night in 10 innings. But the Cubs were able to get on the board early. They were not able to capitalize on several opportunities to score after that. So 2-1 Phils in 10 on Friday, but it was all Chicago Saturday and Sunday, winning 7-1 and 8-1 respectively. Was at the game Saturday. Had an awesome time. Didn't miss too much of the game, but I did miss one of the moments that has so many people talking. Phillies reliever Austin Davis breaking out a piece of paper with a scouting report from his back pocket. This was in the 8th inning. Apparently, he had notes on Addison Russell he wanted to review prior to Russell's at-bat. Joe West, who received a loud roar of boos prior to the game, challenged Davis on the use of this cheat sheet. Major League Baseball yesterday clarified, saying pitchers can indeed use a cheat sheet as long as it doesn't slow the pace of the game. So while it is legal, let's hope we don't see this more often. I think Major League Baseball pitchers in 2018 certainly should not need notes on the mound. They get signs from the catcher, a lot of input from the dugout. You can have a mound visit. Really don't see a reason why you would need to have a piece of paper with notes. So Kris Bryant returned Saturday after several weeks on the disabled list and really didn't seem to miss a beat. Nice plays in the field Saturday night. Had a double early on as well. Great pitching matchup yesterday. Jon Lester and Aaron Nola. Lester shaky right after the All-Star break, but he is back on track, getting his 15th win of the season for the Cubs. Aaron Nola fell to 15-4 for the Phils. Nola in the running for NL Cy Young much of this year. Don't know if Jon Lester might creep his way back into that convo, but I'm guessing Nola will stay there along with Max Scherzer. Nice tribute from the Phillies to Cole Hamels Friday night. Saw that while watching on TV. And then there was another one Saturday night. That was cool to see. It was unexpected. Citizens Bank Park full of Cubs fans. And it was nice to have both Cubs fans and Phillies fans cheering together for the same thing. Hamels did not pitch in this series against his former team, neither did Jake Arrieta. In the National League Central, Cubs have built a 5-game lead over the Brewers. Cardinals seem to have faded out of sight, but they had a nice resurgence in August. They're just 5.5 back. And if the season ended today, the National League would be sending 3 teams to the postseason. Brewers were pretty active with roster moves. They acquired Joakim Soria, Mike Moustakas, and Jonathan Schoop prior to the July 31st deadline. Then last week, the Brewers added Gio Gonzalez from the Nats and Xavier Cedeno from the White Sox. Cardinals, meanwhile, added Matt Adams from the Nationals in August. He was one of the many Nationals who have been let go, part of a fire sale there at Washington. This after the team traded away Tommy Pham. Cardinals made a managerial change too, so some mixed signals from the Cardinals, but they have played themselves back into it. And the Cubs and Brewers have 6 games against each other the rest of the way, today through Wednesday in Milwaukee, then next Monday through Wednesday at Wrigley. You got to think even splitting those 6 games would be a win for the Cubs, so that would keep the Brewers from gaining any ground. Cubs and Cardinals only with a 3-game series at Wrigley, and that will be the final weekend of the regular season. One would hope the Cubs have already clinched the division at that point. Cards likely going to be playing for a wild card spot. Now, the Cubs solidified their offense, acquiring Daniel Murphy from the Nationals via waivers. July 31 is the trade deadline that gets most people's attention, but teams can still make August deals using the waiver process. If a team makes a player eligible for waivers, other teams can then submit a claim for the player. Teams in the same league have priority. And then within that group, a team with the worst record has the top waiver priority. And then it goes backwards to the team with the best record being in the final waiver spot.
So when a player gets claimed,
that team can take one of 3 actions. The team can pull the player back off of waivers and keep him. The player's team can negotiate with a claiming team to work out a trade, or the player's team can simply say, hey, it's been great. You're free to go. So when the Washington Nationals place Daniel Murphy on waivers in August, it's incredible the Cubs ended up with him, because that means all the other teams in the National League passed on him. Going to say that's probably due to a contract situation, not wanting to pay up for a rental. But the Cubs were able to reach a deal to send a minor leaguer to Washington in exchange for Murphy for 6 weeks during the regular season and the postseason. So now you've got Rizzo, Murphy, Baez, Bryant going from first to third. All of them with big bats. Defensively, 3 of the 4 are known for their glove work. With Murphy, you get the bat. You do give up some defensively. If essentially you're gaining Daniel Murphy's bat in exchange for Addison Russell's defense, I say that is a good deal. That said, Russell will still get some time for the Cubs at short. He's already seen that in the 2 games since he was activated from the disabled list. Got some time late in the game Saturday, same yesterday. And with Jason Hayward's hamstring issues likely to keep him sidelined deep into September, you may see Bryant getting some time out in right field. That opens up a couple scenarios at third with David Bodie at third, or you get Baez at third and Russell starting at short. And that's the case today. You've got Baez at third, Russell at short, Bryant out in right field. And Chris Bryant says he's fine as long as he still gets time at both positions. Sounds like a winning plan. So many options for Joe Maddon moving forward. This afternoon, it's the Cubs and Brewers at Miller Park, 2:10 Eastern on WGN. Cole Hamels, Zach Davies, the pitching matchup. Hamels has been incredible in his time at the Cubs, 4-0 in 6 starts, ERA well below 1. He recorded the Cubs' only complete game of the season a couple weeks ago against the Reds. Zach Davies on the mound for the Brewers. It'll be his first start in a while coming back from injury. Montgomery, Miley, the matchup tomorrow night, and then Quintana, Chacín on Wednesday. And Chacín has put together a nice little season for the Brewers. He's 14-5 coming into Wednesday's game. Cubs have 4 in Washington after that, beginning on Thursday as they continue their stretch of 23 games in 23 days. Look for us on Facebook and Twitter, Bricks Bleachers, and subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode on iHeartRadio or wherever else you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening to the Bricks and Bleachers podcast.